NRL Fantasy Buy, Hold, Sell, brought to you by the Casual Athlete. I'm Longy, this is Biz, and we are ready to tear in. Now, first up, Buy of the Week. We've got the big man himself. He's finally back, a couple of weeks off, dominated Origin. Payne Haas, 873k, priced at a 65, and he's pumping a 73 this year. Biz, how hyped are you about this, and are you considering him as a captain option this week?
He's my captain this week, I'm telling you now. I think, Terrell May played 80 minutes last week. Lovely. Cleary's on the way up. Lovely. But Payne Haas, after a 2-week rest, he'll be ripping in and raring to go. They've got a great matchup against the Eels this week. Parramatta love conceding tries up the middle to props. The more journeyman, the better. Well, Payne Haas is not a journeyman by
Jensen
any means,
mate.
but Corey Jensen will get a hattie. But I'm loving it. I think Haas is a great option. He's underpriced. I think with the players getting injured this week, if you've got Colin Matungi, if you've got Tino, if you're still holding Trell, etc., it's perfect to just find a way to get Payne Haas. I think he is a great option this week. And given the 2 weeks off, I think he's going to play big minutes this week. And I would not be surprised if he comes straight back with an 80-plus score. He's my captain this week for sure.
Mate, buy of the week for a reason. I'm with you too. I think he goes massive. And the worry was that back injury they were talking about. That's something that flares up, and that's something a couple of weeks off does make a big difference too. So I'm with you. I think he comes back firing. Paddy Carrigan's in the lock spot for good now as well. Corey Jensen does return. That does hurt things a bit, and Willison has been good. But Payne Haas is going to do Payne Haas things, and they got to win games down the stretch. Mitch Moses is back for Parramatta as well. So that potentially keeps the game a little bit closer for Parramatta too, so it could be one where Payne Haas does play big minutes. By the way, how you doing? How's it going? Because you were having a good round last week for a while there.
I was having a good round until my 3 Titans, Tino, Jaden, and Bo.
Ooh.
Yeah, it wasn't great. I mean, I thought I was in a good spot, but look, I would say that team's looking good. 17 sweet. Hey, trades are liquidating like hell right now, right? Like everyone's copping a 4 or 5 week injury, which means they're pretty much done for the season. Our buy of the week last week was in my team. Trell had to trade him out. Obviously, Keon this week. Obviously, Tino. But otherwise, I'm feeling good. Hey, I've had a lot of mail, and I don't know if this is joke mail, but people have been asking me, is Lockie Hubner a sell? Guys, if Lockie Hubner is still in your team this week, I don't know what you're doing. Get rid of him. Sell him. Don't want to mention his name again for the rest of the year. But
surely he's on the rise though. No Keon Clomatungi.
Mate, look, maybe you're right. Maybe he will be the 80-minute prop for the Bunnies this week. But look, that's just my little tidbit. How are you, Longy?
Yeah, man, life's good. I mean, I had the opposite week. I was sort of struggling a little bit there. Had Herbie Farnworth as captain, but I didn't have Bo Firma. I didn't have Big Tino. So I sort of finished quite nicely at the end there and ended up jumping the ranks a bit. Around that 1,500 ranking now, but I'm pretty happy with my side at the moment. Went Gus Crichton over Tino just because he's in a better side, less likely to be rested. Roosters are really pushing. So, Gus wasn't convincing, but Tino was worse. Now, these buys here, they're interesting ones. So Payne Haas, Nathan Cleary, I get the feeling that most people have 2 of this 3 when you go Haas, Cleary, Yeo. Generally, they're missing one of these guys. I think all 3 are just almost must-haves. And Haas and Cleary, definitely must-haves. Yeo, we'll talk about this with Yeo and Hudson Young in a sec. But when it comes to Nathan Cleary, he pumped out that 64 against Parramatta coming off the bench. They didn't bring him on for about 30 minutes as well. So it was about 50 minutes there he played to score that 64. Now, Parramatta were in that game for quite a bit of it. Cleary definitely broke it open. And the fact that he was scoring consolation tries is a great sign. Because I'm seriously thinking, like, after Origin, he's going to be heated up. He's going to be pushing down the stretch. And up against Tigers this week, could be another captain option as well. Now, I'm not as locked in on Haas as you. I think Haas kills it, but I think Cleary could be just as good too, especially up against his old teammate Luai, and with the Tigers, feeling confident after last week. Is there any part of you that says don't get Cleary, assuming he stays fully fit, or do you think there's no reason for it?
The top 3 on this list are must-haves for the run home. Yeah, they might cop a rest towards the back end of the season. So be it. You're missing out on bulk points, and like you said, you think Payne Haas haven't got a big score, and he's my captain for this week. Look, Cleary, there's a very big argument. The same, yesterday I was just thinking who got a captain this week. I think Haas, Cleary, and Terrell May are all great options this week, and flip a 3-headed coin to say which one's the best. Like all 3 of them could ton up this week. they've got good matchups. Haas against the Eels, Cleary against the Tigers, and then Terrell against the Panthers. Like he has a point to prove. Like he's playing it against a team that's won 6 or 7 on on the trot. The way the Panthers are playing right now, scary signs for the rest of the competition. And Cleary, look, Snyder scored 57 without any real attacking stats last week. So Cleary could just be a guy who's pumping out 70, 80, 90, 100 for the run home. You'd be pretty brave to antipod by not getting him. But I do think Haas, Cleary, and Yeo are must-haves this week. Now that I've said that, watch all three, cop like a 3-week rest or a suspension or something.
Yeo is interesting though. So I've looked at Yeo and I'm getting Yeo. I'm not really thinking about it too much. It's not that deep. But I was having a look and, chatting to a few people at the top of the table and all that sort of thing. I think a lot will get Yeo. And I think many will miss out on Hudson Young.
Mm-hmm.
And as much as Hudson Young does have that bye coming up, if I was a team that was really trying to shake things up, really trying to move up the table, the Yeo antipod isn't totally insane for Hudson Young. So the scoring lately has been quite similar. Hudson scored a 70 last week without attacking stats. I just sort of look at that and I think, you know what, maybe you antipod Yeo for the round 27 bye. Now, I'm not going to do it, but I do want to share that point just as if you're really thinking about doing that, I'm going to give you the tick of approval that it's not totally insane, but I don't know. Yo's had this rest. He came off the bench that other game. I think he'll play the rest of the games this year. And I don't think Penrith will be in a position where they don't care about that final round. So I think Yo's the buy. But if you do want to go Hudson Young instead, it's a bit of a high risk, high reward option. At the same time, Hudson Young has dealt with injury too. So maybe he gets the rest instead, especially with how good Simi Sasangi is playing. So, you don't know which way it goes. But if you do want to antipod Yo, I'm more okay with that than I would be with antipoding Haas or Cleary. I just don't think you do it with Haas and Cleary. I think there is a conversation to be had with Yo.
Yeah, I think Yeo and Hudson Young are pretty much scoring the same this year. And Hudson Young is just, it was great signs last week that he scored 69, 70 odd without a try. And usually he was getting these big scores off the back of doubles. And you can't rely on doubles every week as an edge back rower, as good as Hudson Young is scoring the ball. But look, that was great signs. I think it was 33 odd tackles, 145 odd meters, and 4 offloads. Like that's the signs. And Raiders have a great run home, except for the bye. I will say, I think you're right. I think with having the rest out of the way this year, I think Yeo and Cleary are going to play all the games towards the back end of the season, even if they're playing reduced minutes in the last couple. But I get it. Look, Young is an interesting prospect because he is one of the best players in fantasy this year. And very low ownership given that. So the thing is, all the injuries this year are to the players who are averaging 60 plus, right? So to find 60 plus players to replace them is difficult. Like Keon just went down. Couchman went down recently. Latrell's gone down. Like all these guys were the upper echelon of fantasy players. So there's only a handful left who can average 60 plus in the run home. And so you want to get those players because they're limited stock. But if you could get all 4 of these guys, that's fantastic. I don't think it's realistic you could because, well, some people might be in the position to get all 4. You'd love all 4, but I think it'll be difficult. I think they're pretty the thing with Haas and Cleary is they're expensive. Yeo and Young are at a really good price, so you can definitely squeeze in Yeo and Young. Like for example, you could go Colin Matungi and Tino to Yeo and Young potentially if you had some money left over, but. I think Longy, your arguments make a lot of sense. And the last one on the list, Lachlan Galvin, did you get on last week?
I didn't know, and I probably won't do it again this week either. Just quickly, by the way, Yo and Young kind of sounds like a fashion brand, like a bit of yin and yang sort of vibes.
Yeah.
I would buy a shirt from Yo and Young. We might even make one. But Lachlan Galvin, I didn't do it, and it wasn't me doubting him at all. I think he's got that spot on lock. I think he's an attacking machine. He ran for exactly between that 125 and 130 meters that I asked for, and he kicked for exactly 125 to 130 meters too. So exactly the metrics I was looking for from the Tigers. He hit those. People are saying, oh, he scored a try. 55 doesn't count. Lachlan Galvin scores tries. He's a running creative 6 who's been given a lot of money to be a running creative 6 on a Bulldogs side that is close to the top of the table. So I wouldn't write off the 55 at all. I think it was a very genuine 55 points from Galvin. Now, 463K, the reason it's hard for me is I can go Kolomatangi to Yo pretty simply. I don't have the money to go Latu Fani to Lachlan Galvin. So I would then need to add a third trade in and do a cash out or something messy like that, or go Feketi to Galvin. But Feketi has now held that spot. So why would I sell Feketi? He scores 55 for fun at this stage. So it just doesn't benefit my team to bring Lockie Galvin in this week. There's no reason to do it. Feketi's my 17th man, even with Munster out. So I don't need a 17th man. I'm not going to trade. Like Turbo goes into center. I'll just do my one trade. Keon Kalamatangi to go. I'll sit on Latu Finu, even though he's probably going to lose a bit of cash this week. And I'll wait on Galvin as well. He's got about a 30-point break even. He's going to make a bit of cash, but by the time I want to buy him, I think he'll still be cheap. And I think I'll be selling someone who's hurt. So I'm just not forcing the trade, even though I do love Lockie Galvin.
Yeah, I mean, I had the choice of Lachlan Galvin last week or Jamie Humphries when Trell went down. I was like, okay, if you really only want one of these guys, they're both same price. They're both probably, close to your 17, but maybe your 18th man most weeks. I went Humphries, pretty happy with that 53. Played a lot of time at hooker, but then he has a concussion. So
at training too. You're cursed, man. You're cursed.
What on earth? Like, why?
It happened on like Sunday onwards. You've been cursed, bro.
Like, what is going on? Like, you were fine. I saw you. You made 45 tackles. Where did you get concussed? At training. Oh, seriously. Anyway, I think, look, it's fine. He's like my 19th man anyway. But with Herbie out, Tino out, and now Humphries out, that 20th and 21st man getting called up pretty quickly and running out of trades too. But look, I think Galvin is a great option. The only flip side with that is Bulldogs are playing really well, but they're on the slide. Look, their attack is looking clunkier and clunkier. But Galvin really, they look clunky. Without Galvin, they're losing that game. Like he scored a try, great try assist. So they could lean on him more and more as the season goes on, and those attacking stats go up and up and up. So I think Lockie Galvin at 463K is a great buy. One I'm considering just because the injury history, like he could average 55 the way home, and you talked about it last week. Like you want a 50 to 55 average to be worth bringing him in. I thought Humphries could get there, and I wasn't 100% sure on Galvin. I think after last week, I'm more confident on Galvin. So it's one I'm thinking about this week for the injured Tino, or even upgrading a Fainu and just holding Tino, given his awkward price point. I know a lot of fantasy owners will be in that similar boat, so it's one to consider. But I think some great buys last week. But I will say, though, not to curse anything, but I had all 5 of last week's buys, and it didn't go that well. So
no, last week was bad, dude. Last week was bad.
Last week was bad.
The pods were good. The pods went really well.
Pods were really good.
Pods were terrible, man. Tino, Latrell. I mean, Crichton went all right, but
Crichton was well. Crichton got saved by that junk try. But I will say though, not much you can do if Trell gets injured at training and Humphries getting trained. I think this week I'm confident. I reckon I want to go out on a limb here. I want to say the 5 buys on this list average 70 plus for the round.
This is a no-nonsense list. I'm with you there. I've thrown Galvin in, but other than that, it is serious business. Like we're not eat a fuck spiders, mate. Like
I gave a bit of leeway for Galvin having a 50, but I reckon the rest of them are going big this week.
I agree with you. I think it's one of the best weeks for captains ever. And I think all 4, by the way, not just all 3, but all 4 are captain options plus Terrell May. Now, let's rip into cheapies here. And we don't have a cheapie of the week this week because I think cheapies are kind of irrelevant. I don't think you should be cashing out anymore. I think you've done your cash outs the last couple of weeks. I don't think you should be cashing out right now. But if you are cashing out and you don't have less than 5 trades left, because if you do have less than 5 trades left, I'll be yelling at you. But if you are needing a cash out, these are some guys here. So Josh Papali'i moves to fullback. Not a great fantasy scorer, but he's better at fullback than he is in the halves. Liam LeBlanc, he's an interesting one. Scored a 40 last week with Kalamatangi out. Talon De Silva, we talked about him ad nauseum. He played about 41 minutes last week. That's kind of what we expect. DWZ is playing against the Titans this week, who were leaking points deluxe on the edges. We saw Taylor May last week absolutely kill it, and Jarrell Skelton have his best game of the year as well. And then Brendan Piakura, will save him to the end. Of that first biz, so Papali'i, LeBlanc, De Silva, DWZ, does any of this jump out at you? Is it just a case of just get the cheap guy with job security in Papali'i, or are you trying to do something different?
It's probably just where you need the position. If you need a hooker, Talon De Silva. If you need a fullback, Papali'i. If you need a fullback, then you might need to play DWZ. But I don't think there's much of a difference. I think Papali'i will be a lot better at fullback than 5'8". Like at 5'8", he was just, making his tackles, and he wasn't making that many. I think look, he'll do a lot more. He'll get a lot more tackle breaks, attacking stats. It'll be interesting to watch at the back. I think it's got 38-40 average at fullback in reserve grade. I think expect 30 odd from him. LeBlanc, if you need a forward, potentially interesting. But these are all guys that if you really wanted to cash out, you probably had a week or two ago. For example, you're only making trades here to people that are getting injured, right? So, exactly like Longy said, I don't know why you'd be looking at these guys. Like, for example, if you're trading up Keon or Tino or Latrell or anyone, like, these are guys like you'll bring in, like, no, like, just don't do it unless you really, really need to. But I think if I had
get to Cleary though, like Latu to one of these guys, and then you go into Cleary from Keon. Or something like that.
If you need to get to Cleary, Haas, and Yeo, and you didn't have the cash, then fine. Like move a Latu or move like a mid ranger. We'll talk about ourselves at the last section, but then fine. Papali'i, Talon De Silva, decent options. But look, the man himself, Brendan Piakora. I mean, I was hoping you'd have made a graphic for him this week, Longy, and made him the cheapie of the week.
I'm going to give him one more week because he's got to fix that break even first, and then we bring him in as cheapie of the week.
Against the Eels' edges, I think whatever break even it is, he can hit it.
I mean, 356K, if he gets cheap enough, and I need the cash next week, I could go Latu Finu to Piakura and just ride that wave right to the end. And then, we talk about the big four captains. It becomes a big five when you have Piakura. Imagine if one of us did captain Piakura at the end.
I mean, if I have trade left at the last round and I'm still ranked in the gazillions, I'll do it. But why not?
For the vibes. All right, I'll try and keep us respectable then. But Piakura, 56K, he's getting cheaper, potentially. Just an interesting option that can pump out big numbers. Now, ripping into our pod of the week. We've got the big man himself, Blake Brailey, and this guy is a stone cold killer lately. So 745K, he's priced at a 55. The big thing to note here is that he's averaging 80 points in games where he runs 100 meters plus. That's only 3 games this year, but it's scores of 76, 77, and I think a 90 in there as well. His positional rank at hooker is up for debate because I'm going to throw to you here. Is Blake Brailey the best hooker in fantasy for the run home with Cronulla's relatively easy draw coming up?
Man, if you had asked me this a week ago, I would have said, like, what are you talking about? Like, no chance. But he schooled the Roosters. Like, he put on a clinic. He was running the ball like once or twice set, and every time it was either a line break or a half line break, or just Roosters were in scrambles defending him. They tried to make an adjustment at half time. It made no difference. Blake Brailey still was schooling them up until the 80th minute. Blake Brailey's been playing long enough, and this has kind of come out of nowhere. I mean, maybe Cronulla fans saw this coming. As a third-party observer here, I did not expect this from Blake Brailey, but he has been good for multiple weeks now. He's been good for a good month or two of footy. I think it's a decent pot option because it's like these are the types of players that, okay, you just get on and hope that they're just hot and they stay hot and they just help you climb the ranks. No one else. Like a lot of people, me included, probably are going to look at Blake Brailey and be like, the boat has sailed. Like the ship's gone. If you thought he was a pod, you should have done it 3-4 weeks ago. He's now 750K. He costs more than Yeo and Hudson Young almost. So I'm on that disbelief of it. But you could get on him and he could just keep pumping out 70, 80, 90 for the run home, given that, like you said, Cronulla's very soft draw and the form he's in. I can't see why he'd stop running when it's been so successful. And look, he could end as the best hooker for the run home. So if you've got the funds for it, I say do it. Why not just take a punt at this point of the year? Yeah, I mean, like everyone's going to have very similar 17s for the run home, especially with a lot of injuries. So you need pods, and this could be one for you.
Mate, I'm tempted because, like you said, that draw is good. Cronulla are fighting for a top 8 spot as well. Like they're in the 8 right now, but they're not convincingly in the 8. So they've got to really battle for that. But then I ask myself, do I want to have Blake Brailey, Adam Fanua-Blake, and Nico Hines all more expensive when I bought them than they are at the end of the season? Because there's very little chance he ends up more expensive than 750K. And I've been disappointed by the other two. So the Sharks jersey in my head is not bringing a positive memory around. So that's where I'm a bit worried about it. But Blake Brailey, 3 of the last 5 games, 100 meters plus. He had 1 game over 100 meters in his entire career before that 5-game stretch. So it's a trend now. It's a trend now, man. Like, and the other side of it is if you're Cronulla, because I look at this and go, right, maybe this player's just hogging stats, they're losing games, blah, blah, blah. Cronulla won that game, and Cronulla's best attacking weapon is Blake Brailey. Like, they've got problems in the halves. They've got problems at fullback. Blake Brailey is lethal, and he is opening everything up. He's allowing Hines to play more direct as well. It's actually helping Nico. But I just look at this and think there's no reason for him to stop. If he does stop, it's absolutely stupid. And you can just have the biggest whinge about it because there's no reason he should stop running. So you either get heaps of points or you're correct and you're smarter than Craig Fitzgibbon and you get to whine about it. So I think it's a win-win here if you pot up with Blake Brailey. Captaincy is a different question. I don't think we're going to captain him. That's very brave, but he's an absolute machine.
Yeah, I mean, whinging is what we do best. So it's tempting. If I had an extra 60, 70K, I might have actually done it. But I think I need a third trade to make this one work. So I'll miss it.
Over Yo.
I'll
over Yo.
Yeah,
That's
I don't know.
I don't mind it. I don't mind it. Like Yo,
I'll think about it, but I don't know. It's a hard one. I mean, Yo's so good.
Sorensen, Garner, Martin, Papali'i. Like, there's a bit of congestion in that forward pack.
Yeah. Look, you're not convincing me, but I mean, Blake Brailey is a very interesting option because you're right. Like I said, he was the best player on the field last week for them, and he should keep doing what he's doing. Carrigan is another interesting one. He is a guy that can average close to 60 when he's on the park. Couple of reduced minute games at lock compared to when he was playing prop. I think he was playing close to 70 minutes at prop and more like 60 minutes at lock. I mean, but we've seen Carrigan for the last few years that he is just an absolute beast. But he's mostly a beast when Payne Haas is out, and he's more middling when Payne Haas is playing. So that being said, I think he's good value for where he's at. Broncos are hot right now; they're winning, and like the tractor for him is Xavier Wilson's proven that he can be a beast in the middle, and that he's absorbing more minutes than he has. And Corey Jensen, like same you said about Haas. He'll be there. And he hasn't had as much of a rest as Haas has had over the last couple of weeks. So he could get more of a rest in the run home, easing him in finals, especially if Broncos keep winning and they lock up that spot towards the back end of the year. So an interesting option, but one I'll probably be skipping.
Yeah, I don't like him either. I put him in here just because a lot of people are asking about anti-potting Yo with Carrigan. And I think the reason everyone's asking that question is because Carrigan's a slightly worse version of Yo. He's very stable. He has less attacking stats in his game than Yo, and he's got a big work rate, and he's one of the best locks in the game, right? So it's very simple to compare them. My view on this is if you're going to anti-pod Yo, you're not going to go with a guy who's trying to play the same game as Yo, that stable game, because no one beats Yo at stable footy. Like, no one's beating Yo at that game. What you need to anti-pod Yo with is something completely different, because no one's beating Yo at his own game. So you have to go either Blake Brailey, nuclear form, or Hudson Young, nuclear form, right? They're the guys to anti-pod Yo with. I'm not a big fan of the Carrigan play. I just don't see it. Like, I like the matchups for the Broncos for Payne Haas. I don't see Carrigan racking up enough attacking stats to be worthwhile because he just doesn't really score tries. Like, he's not that guy. So I'm with you. I'm not keen on Carrigan. If you're not going with Yo, if you're anti-podding one of the big dogs, you need to anti-pod with upside. So that's how I see that. Now, ripping through, the other way to anti-pod as well, if you're a team that's poor, is you go cheap. And Tanner Boyd, he is the Isaiah Yo of discount halves, right? So very stable, not a big attacking upside there. Not a lot of run meters in his game, but big base stats there. The kick meters, the goal kicking for the Warriors, and pretty good defensive stats as well. Now, last week, did you catch the Warriors game by any chance?
I didn't, but I saw the final play of the game, and I saw Knights bomb a lot of tries as well.
Yeah, so a lot of frustrations around Tanner Boyd in that game from Knights Warriors fans, and a lot of frustration. I don't think he's going to be dropped for it, but Tamario Martin is sitting right there. And I just want to flag this. I just think if Tanner Boyd struggles, maybe if they had lost that game, if they play again and play worse than the Knights again this week, against whoever they're playing, the Titans this week. But if they lose to the Titans after nearly losing to the Knights, there might be a conversation about, all right, maybe Tamario Martin's the guy. So I just reckon there's that little nagging issue there. And we talked about that with Galvin, but Galvin came out and scored the match-winning try. Tanner Boyd came out and didn't play terribly, but there are questions. So that's the one thing I'd flag there. Also at 532K, not that cheap. like not that outrageously cheap, but an interesting pod. And if you think he can get it clicking, the Warriors are a great side. And all he has to do is throw the ball to Laker Halasima a couple of times. He's going to score a few try assists there too. Do you have any interest in Tanner Boyd here, or like we talk about this a lot? Actually, oh, by the way, Biz, I don't know if you saw on Thursday, me, Rob, and Turtles have a three-way bet. I've got Galvin, Turtles had Humphreys, and Rob had Tanner Boyd. So the winner gets some sort of KFC piece feed, a number of pieces. Not enough pieces, if you ask me, but yeah, I'm feeling much more confident about Galvin, even though they all scored 50 plus.
Yeah, I think Tanner Boyd, like we said, that this is his peak right now. And what do you think his peak is? Look, I looked at more closely at his reserve grade stats, and he's won every game for the Warriors this year in the reserves, and it's like 15 wins out of 15 games. And his average was 49, exactly like what he scored last week. So I do think low 50s is really his peak on an average basis. And I think if that's the case at 532K, I'm definitely more interested in Galvin, and I'm more interested in Humphreys when he's back next week, despite him having a bye. So I think, look, Boyd, good. Like if you got him last week, like, you're not that disappointed with 50. Like if
no,
a
he's a
few
goer,
other
man.
people,
He's in the
yeah,
pods list. I'm not
yeah,
trashing him. I'm just trashing him by
I
comparison
know,
to
I know.
Galvin.
No, I'm also trashing him in comparison to Galvin, but like I think you could do a lot worse than Tanner Boyd. The problem is, like you said, if Warriors lose a couple of these games, it could be if you. But Tanner Boyd versus Gold Coast, this could be a revenge game. This could be one of the big scoring games. And Warriors do have a very, very soft draw. I'd say Warriors have the best draw for the rest of the season, so they shouldn't be losing games. They could win every game potentially towards the end, and Boyd could feast off that. So I still think he's good value at 532K, but I still would take Galvin and Humphreys over him for a mid-range half.
Yep. Fair shout. Fair shout. Like he's a pod option there if you want it. Very safe scorer. Harry Grant's the next one here. I've left him in the same spot. Now, Harry scored, I think it was 57 points, 65 tackles last week. Interesting stat line. We saw Jeremy Marshall King do a similar thing. He scored like 70 with 65 tackles. He backed it up with a 24 this week. So I really want to hammer that a player making 65 tackles means absolutely nothing to their fantasy production the next week. Harry Grant, though, the big thing here is he scored a try. He got called back because Nelson Sofa Solomona elbowed someone in the head and knocked them out after playing the ball. So, well, just before playing the ball, but during the play the ball. So he had a try there. And the week before, he had a scoot where he nearly scored a try as well. So he's had basically 2 tries in the last 2 weeks that haven't been tries. And I think there's a whole different conversation happening about Harry Grant if he scored 2 tries in 2 games. So I reckon at 629K, if I was buying a hooker right now, after seeing Connor Watson look relatively ineffective the last 2 weeks, I'd be choosing Grant over Watson. And I'm a Watson owner. I'm not going to buy Grant because I'm not buying another hooker unless it's Blake Brailey, who's the best in the game. But I'd be buying Harry Grant if I was buying a hooker right now at that sort of price point. And look, 629K, I don't know. He's nearly had a try in both those games. The risk is he gets a rest right at the end of the year. But other than that, I think he's rock solid.
I mean, I don't know. My knock on Grant is I don't think he's playing 80 minutes for the rest of the year. I think this week he will with Munster out and Wishart there, but Wishart's going to spell him like for the rest of the season. I'm pretty sure. I just don't see, especially with these huge tackle counts. Bellamy would prefer him fresh, and Storm are locked in for top 4 pretty much, I think, and I just see him be a more 60, 65-minute player for the run home, and I'm not paying for that at 629K. So if I was confident he would get 80 minutes every week, I would do it, but I don't think so. So I think it's an easy pass for me.
Mate, we don't like the pods this week at all. We just like Blake Brailey and the bias, but we've sort of skimmed the cheapies as well. It's just a real business now. Now, center is the last thing we got to talk about here. Tommy Turbo got dual position, so that is justice. He got that dual position. He's center wing fullback. For my team, he's the starting center this week. I don't have to worry about center.
Tommy Turbo has been like the best center over the last few weeks. I feel fantasy wise, like what back-to-back 60s, and it's not like he's scoring hat tricks either. So good science. Anyway,
he's pumping numbers, dude. And without attacking stats, I was watching that game too, and he would do nothing, and his score would go up 5. He'd do nothing, and his score would go up 3. And he'd take it up, and his score would go up 8 points. Like, I was just watching it, like, shocked that his score was going up so quickly.
Yeah.
And obviously he's doing stuff, but it just didn't feel like it, right? Like, it's like the opposite of owning Nico Hines. It's just so great.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's not about him. I think it's too late to buy him unless you're really desperate and you're a big believer. If you need a center, you could go Turbo if you want. Gagai and Whiten are two other options here. Gagai has been back-to-back big scores at the fullback spot. He's a machine at fullback. And Whiten is interesting at 454K with Humphreys out this week, but also noting that he kicked more than Humphreys last week. Even though Humphreys played a bit of hooker, I still think that's noteworthy. And I think the fact that Latrell's out for a while, Whiten's available at center, pumped out that big score, had 150 run meters as well. Again, I don't need to make these trades. Like my team doesn't have enough holes that I need to be wasting trades right now. But I'd be keen on Whiten if I was needing a center this week.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting one because you're right. The kick meters last week, 344 for Whiten, 365 for Humphreys. I think when did
Almost
the hate
overtime,
happen?
right?
Yeah, so it was 53 minutes. It was the 53rd minute that I think Humphreys went into hooker. I think Humphreys was well ahead at that point. I think I watched most of it, and it was like 300 to 100. So that made a big skew. But I think this week he's going for a big score. And we saw last year that when Whiten plays at center, he's a mid-40s guy.
At 6,
at 6. Yeah, he's really solid there. But, I mean, again, like we put him in as a pod, but is a mid-40s center really what you're looking for at this point in the season? Like, surely not. So if it was
if you're missing Herbie, though, you're missing Herbie and you only want to make one trade. Let's say you want Keon to Yeo, and then you want to go like, I want to sell Latu for a center.
Yep.
That's kind of the scenario I'm thinking of there. Like someone who doesn't want to invest at center because they have Herbie coming back.
Yeah, no, fair enough. I mean, it is a bit of a wasteland as cashy centers right now, so that's not a bad option. I think I'd say hopefully that's a bit of a niche scenario, but yeah, I think Whiten. I think he'll be good for the run home. Just noting that he's got to buy soon as well.
Yeah, and look, for those people, they'd be nervous about Bo Firma as well, right? Like Bo Firma, after that score, I wouldn't want to buy him as my third center to play in the back row because it just makes him a little bit untrustworthy. Other option is if you want to stick with South Sydney, you can go Isaiah Tass. That's a fun one. He's always on the cheapie list, which is a real skill. Yeah, it's not a great sign if they're staying there every week. Now, holds and sells. This is pretty straightforward here. One of our quicker episodes, Biz, but it's a case of just buy the top guns. Don't diddle around with anything else. Buy the top guns. Now, holds, Jamie Humphreys, he's out 1 week. I'll just hear it from your side. You're not considering him selling him, are you?
No, I think he's 50-plus player run home. Holding for sure. No problems.
Agree completely with that. Bo Firma, 679K. I was at the game down at Leichhardt. Absolute cracker of a game. That was bloody fun to be at. It's crazy watching a team win in the clutch like that. I don't think I've seen Parramatta do that in a long time, but I got to feel like a Tigers fan that day. And they have it good, man. Tigers fans, they have it good when they play at Leichhardt only. Bo Firma, though, this is a disaster. So 5 missed tackles, not a lot of involvement, no attacking plays. Scored that 29. It's going to happen. You know, Preston did it a few weeks ago as well. Like it happens to basically every back rower. Eli Katoa is going to do it too, by the way. All the Eli Katoa owners who are really smug, he is going to score you a 29 at some point as well. Like it just happens. The only guy who's immune is probably Hudson Young because he's just such a machine right now. But Bo Firma, I wouldn't panic. I wouldn't sell him. Keep him in your team. If you're considering buying him, I wouldn't write him off after last week, but I do have slightly more concern about the Titans without Tino. So that's the big thing that drops him down for me.
Yeah, look, I'm not worried at all. Like you said, this happens, and as an owner, like whatever, it's not great that it's the week that you buy him in, but I think he's still the second best center for the run home. And look, 129, he had like 6 or 7 55 odd scores on the trot before that. So if he did it again, then maybe it's worrying, but I'm not worried at all. I think he will go back to his 55 plus this week.
And Fafita's out as well. He's got a new injury that he picked up in that 4-point performance over the weekend. Now, Celessi Fiketti, 509K. A few people asking about selling him. I think people are restless and just want to use all their trades. But Fiketti stays in the edge back row spot. Sul Wong comes back at lock. Radley's getting scans on that shoulder. I haven't heard anything conclusive about that yet. If Radley's out for a while, Fiketti may be a keeper. If Radley's out for a smaller period, my suspicion is that when Radley comes back, we'll sell Fiketti. So until then, at 509K and rising rapidly, many of us got him for about 360K before that last buy round. He's doing a job. He's making that cash. He is Tallis Duncan. Stick with him as long as you can until he's on the bench.
I was just going to say he's a new Talis Duncan, but yeah, look, he's just cranking out 350s in a row now or something.
Back to back 55s as well.
Exactly.
So
Like
good.
he's like, I bought Angus for less production for like 400k more.
Yeah.
So I'm feeling real silly right now. But yeah, look, you got to keep him going until he gets dropped. And I don't know with Radley. So there's a chance. Look, if Radley was ruled out for the season, I would potentially buy for Ken. Like if he's scoring 55s at 509k, and
Without the attack too, like he's thrown a few
yeah,
offloads that are a bit wayward that were
yeah,
almost big attacking plays. I'm an owner and I am excited. He's in my 17 this week. I'm happy about it.
his work rate was much better than Angus last week. Like Faketi would keep lining up for runs every time the ball was on his side, and I like as a non-owner it was annoying, but as an owner I would have been like, oh yeah, hell yeah, keep getting the ball. And he is a good player. Like what he was Cup Player of the Year last year or something for the Roosters, or maybe just in general. I can't remember the stat off the top of my head. And he's an attacking weapon. Like we've all seen his footwork and that step. Like he's got attacking upside. Like I would not if he keeps up this work rate and he adds in one of these big tries, like 70 pluses are in the horizon. And Roosters run home isn't too bad. We don't have other like speaking of Roosters and holds, like Teddy is an obvious hold too with the 27 last week. Like relax, it's Teddy. Like that happens to all the fullbacks. Drinkwater
You feel the
does it
same
like
about like
every 2 weeks.
AFB, Tarpanay, like all these. Like, I feel that way about these guys. I think they're all
I
holds.
think they're all holds, just given how precious trades are. Like, yeah, I don't love having Tarpanay right now, but I'm not trading out that kind of player when 2 players get injured every week and I've got 5 trades left. So
Tarpanay ran 200 meters last week too. Like, that's the other thing, right? So it's rare. It takes skill for him to avoid fantasy stats running 200 meters, but he managed to do it for us.
The problem is the 45 to 48 minutes. Like you want 50 plus minutes out of Tarpanay, and same with Adam Fennell Blake. You want 60 plus minutes, not 50 minutes. But at this point of state, like 50 to 52 average players, like, they're not what you want as in your final 17, but you're not trading them out at this point of the year. Like you just don't have that luxury trades. Yeah. So
unless you have bulk trades, like double-digit trades, and
exactly
all that. Yeah. Now, next guy here, Ewan Aitken, 618k, gets that dual position. If he didn't have the buy in round 26, he might be in the pods or buys list. He's not a pod, so you have to make the buys list. But he's a 55 average in the back row. He's at a discount, and you can play him at center in a week where Herbie Farnworth is out. This is great. Like Ewan Aitken owners, if you've held him this long, you've copped a bit of trash recently, but it's all turning around. It's coming up Millhouse, right? You just got to ride this wave and hope that he keeps playing in the back row and hope that you can cover around 26. Luckily, you can cover around 26 because every single fantasy relevant player for South Sydney gets hurt. So you don't have any more of them anyway. So it's just going to be you and Aitken sitting there for South as long as you can avoid that injury bug. Biz, I know you're a big Aitken guy normally. Do you have Aitken right now?
I don't have Aitken right now, but it was actually someone I was looking at before this podcast because I have about 650k to trade out Tino, and Aitken to me is the best kind of player in that range. But I also do have Humphreys, and I think I'll have 6 other injuries by the time I get to round 26. So I don't know if it makes the most sense, but if you ignored the buy, I think it's a great option because Aitken had that one bad score on the edge and everyone panicked. He made like 54 odd from center last week. Like he is a really good fantasy player, and it's kind of like the Fermor story. Like he had one low score at edge, but more often than not, he's 55, 60 plus. And he's one of these guys that could get close to 60 average for the run home. The problem is Souths are dropping like flies. So if it's not him getting injured, it's someone else getting injured and he has to move to center, which is just as bad. And plus the buy. So it's a bit of a rough story. I'd love to do it. If he didn't have the buy, I think I'd definitely do it. But I think with that buy and just the way the Souths are going down like flies, I think I'll just skip it.
Yep, I agree with that. But if you have him in your team, you definitely
hold. For sure, hold. 100%.
Now, Cam Munster's the last one here, missing this week's game.
This is okay. Cam Munster is only relevant for you, mate. Like this is literally just
what?
Like,
other people have Munster too.
Surely not. Like who? What's? I want to. You keep going.
I'm looking up right now. I'm doing it right now.
I have not seen anyone with Munster except you.
There are others out there. We are plentiful. There are many of us. Do you know how many people watch this show, Biz?
It's like 0.66% in the top 5,000. That's just your team.
0.3% in the top 1,000.
What? This is just for you.
That's heaps, mate. That's what's that? 1% of that's 3 teams. 3. And they're probably all watching right now.
Fair enough.
Anyway,
I
so
can't.
to the
Are you
3 of
holding
you,
him like legitimately, or are you holding him because it's like a Piacora thing now? Like, what is it?
no, it's legit. It's legit. And the reason for it is I think that nuclear upside pods are a great way to finish your fantasy season. And it can blow up in your face and be terrible. And okay, well, I've got a whole off season to get over it. Or you can have a great time with it. Now, Munster last week had 0 run meters at halftime, ended on a 50. He's been racking up 120 to 130 meters a game on average. And everything I say about Galvin with that run line is better for Munster. It's a better team in the Storm. He's a better player. He's Cam Munster. And, you know, he's probably going to be fired up when he comes back. Like he's going through it a bit right now. Like, so I don't know. I've had him this long. The part of it is just loyalty as well. But at 616K, what am I going to do? Am I going to sell him for Ewan Aitken? Like, no, I'm not going to do
No,
that.
I mean,
Am
I
I going to
just said
sell
you
him
don't.
for
Yeah, you
Tanner
don't trade
Boyd and
someone
pocket
who's
for
averaging
80K? Oh, yeah. No, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah,
I'm definitely not selling him for bloody Isaiah Katoa because Munster will beat Isaiah Katoa soon. I'm sticking with him, man.
we've said that about Hines about for like 3 months straight. But no, I mean,
Yeah,
I totally
Katoa beat
agree.
Hines last week, by the way. We have to give credit there to the Katoa owners.
Yeah. But Munster, yeah, if you have him, to all 3 of you, hold him because, like I said, don't trade out guys who are averaging in the 50 mark. Like, it's not worth the trade. But so yeah, look, condolences to Munster and the family. But I think, yeah, no, I agree. He has got some upside, like 49 odd last week of 50, 60 meters gained and 60 kick meters. I will say, are you worried about that kick meter stat where he uses kicking 600 plus per game and is not leaving much for Munster? Are you worried about that at all?
It's horrific and it's terrifying and I hate it. But I have him in my team now, so he's just gonna stay. He's just gonna stay. I think I just can't justify the trade. And everything I'm doing is like if I sell Munster, I'm selling Munster so that I can play someone instead of Fiketti. Do you know what I mean? Like there's just no reason to do it.
Yeah.
Kalamatanga Yeo makes sense.
Yeah.
There's no reason to do it. He comes back next week. He's kind of on the fringe of my 17. So if Fiketti stays a keeper, he's probably not in my 17 every week anyway. Might be a loophole guy. Like, I don't know. I rate him. I enjoy watching him as well. When he's on, it's so fun. It's so fun to watch him. So, and it's a bit of a meme at this point, so I've got to stick with him too. But I just have no reason to sell him at this stage.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let's talk about sells because we got a few guys to talk about here. And we've got Kalamatangi first, Big Tino next, Latrell Mitchell, Talis Duncan, Ruben Garrick. These are pretty straightforward. I want to talk more about Garrick at the end, though, and just in a bit more detail. So Kalamatangi's out for the season now. Getting surgery. It's pretty easy sell. It sucks for him because he was in great form before that last Origin game. Sort of cooled off a bit since then. I was keen to see him with an extended run in the front row, more just as a footy fan to see how he handled that over a longer period. Sort of felt like he was starting to taper off, and maybe the injury sort of backs up that he might end up back in the edge back row next week or next year. Big Tino, 3 to 4 weeks. You were talking about potentially holding him. Is that just like because of the price there, or do you think he comes back in 3 to 4 weeks and does something, or what are your thoughts here?
I mean, I don't know if he's doing something, but the mind for is like I have guys like Humphreys and Turbo in my 18th and 19th spot who are, for what I can get at this price, like better than that, right? So I think Humphreys and Turbo are hopefully averaging 50 plus on the run home. So what I could just do is just hold Tino, and if he comes back in 3 to 4 weeks, great. And then if he doesn't, then when I really need a player, then I can trade him then. The other option is I just hold Tino and say move the Fainu to a like Lachlan Galvin type and just hope he gives me the 50. Like I'm not set on trading Tino. I think it's an option, especially if it's 3 weeks. But even if it's 3 weeks, like tight ends are not in the finals hunt. So why would you rush the talisman back? The only reason I could think is Des is fighting for his job and they need him on the park. But the signs weren't great. And look, there's some options. I'll have to think about it carefully. But I think most of the options last week, like you had on the buys longy, is 700K plus. There's not much at the 600 to 650 range, which is what I can afford. So if I'm paying 600 to 650, I think I just take Lachlan Galvin at 460 at that point.
Yeah.
So I would just trade Fainu, or someone, because I don't really want to play Fainu even he's in my 20th, and at least Tino, if he can come back for the last couple of rounds, he's playable. So that's my logic. But I don't know if you have any. I mean, it's good that you avoided him because it's a tough situation.
It was honestly luck, man. I thought he was a good option as well. I just went Gus. I just like the Roosters better than Titans. That's the entire difference there. But I will say with Tino, I think he's very worth selling. And if you can move Tino and Latu Fainu to Yeo and Joash Papali'i, you've done great. Because Joash is a very similar score to Latu Fainu, I would say. I think they're about the same. And you get that wing fullback cover, which is going to be tough down the stretch. You know how wing fullbacks are. And then you get Yo in for Tino as well. So I think for a lot of teams it makes sense, but don't be trading NPRs for the sake of trading NPRs. So if you can, like you said, if you can field 17 this week, which you're doing, you don't need to be moving them. You can just leave them there. You can move them when you need to. But I think I'm seeing too many teams trading, and they're using 2 of their last 4 trades to shuffle around NPRs and to shuffle around guys that aren't in their scoring 17 this week. Don't do it. You're going to have more problems. Number of problems we had this week, but if we're going to have the same number next week and the same number the week after and the same the week after and the week after and the week after and the week after, that's how many rounds there are left. It's cooked.
Yeah.
So don't trade for no reason, but he is a sell. Trell Mitt, he's out for a while as well. So there's a chance he comes back. I think Latrell. That's what last thing I heard. I doubt it. I heavily doubt it. I think it would be stupid of them to bring him back. And I think Jai Gray getting a run there now at fullback as well. As long as he stays fit, probably means he stays in the picture. So you're selling Trell. Talis Duncan, is there any reason you would hold him? Hypothetically, Biz, playing at center, obviously we're going to sell him. But hypothetically, he gets moved to edge back row. We get confirmation of that. They sign 3 centers, Taylor May's other 3 brothers, who are all good centers, and they're never going to play Talis Duncan at center again. Would you keep him, or do you think at 700K it's still a sell?
If you have more than 5 trades, you can sell. I think if you have less than 5 trades, there's just other fires to put out, and then you're just stuck with him, right? So the thing is, exactly like you said, I'm suspecting 1 or 2 injury trades every week from here on in, and we see it every year. The injury rate in the last part of the season is extremely high. Players are fatigued, injuries happen very, very often. So I don't think you can afford to move players unless they're hurt. So I would just be, unless you've got 6, 7, 8+ trades, regardless of what Duncan's doing, I just hold. It's not great if he's playing center; he's going to lose value. But a dual position, you're just going to have to kind of ride him out. Because if you've got 3 or 4 trades left after you move Colo and Tino, I don't want to be using another one on moving Duncan when at least he's healthy and able to play.
I just will say though, that price.
I know it's very optionality, but it's that price. But a trade is worth more than that price, in my opinion, at this stage.
Hypothetically, Biz, if I had 3 trades left after selling, Kalamatangi and Tino, whatever, I would still move Duncan to Blake Brailey or to Hudson Young. I'd do it myself, and I get it's a bit reckless, but personally, I'd make that move. So everything you're saying is logical. Personally, I'd still do it. I couldn't look at him at center scoring me a 39 and then watch Hudson Young play. I just couldn't bring myself to do it. So I would make that move, but everything you're saying is logical as well. I don't know. I think I have a bit less impulse control than you do, I think. That's probably what it is.
I mean, you're doing better than me. So, look, yeah, you will be screwed towards the last few weeks of the year, but sometimes you just got to ride your luck. I mean, the year you won Longy, you just rode your final team home and hope for the best, and you got the best. And sometimes
deeper squads though back then, 25-man squads.
That's true.
That allowed a lot more nuance, right? Because you get those right cheapies. Last one here, Ruben Garrick. And I just want to shout out Garrick. So we talked about him as a sell a few weeks ago. He's still sellable, but at this stage, the green dot, the dual position, goal kicking, all that sort of thing, you're probably going to hold on to him. And that's why I put the question mark there. The other thing is, next 3 games are really tough. So we talked about that tough run. He's 1 game into that tough run, but it finishes off really light. So the last 4 games after this next 3 is actually really good for Ruben Garrick. As a winger, he's still a pretty rubbish scorer. He needs to score doubles to crack 50, basically, on the wing. So even when he works hard, he just doesn't have the stat base at wing. So if you have heaps of trades or you're a head-to-head coach or whatever it is, you can sell Garrick. But if you're an overall coach, you're probably going to hold on to him just for that dual position, that cover. But that's more why he's in the sells. It's like in an ideal world, he's a sell. For most coaches, you've wasted all your trades already. So you're stuck with him, sucked in.
Yeah, I think it's exactly that. Like you've summarized it well. I think if you've still got him and you're running out of trades, you just have to hold him at this point.
Enjoy. Now, any last words from you, Biz? I thought we were quick, but we actually weren't that fast today.
No, I was still close to an hour. Look, I think fingers crossed, no more injuries, but I know that's a bit of a pipe dream at this point of the year. Good luck to everybody, and let's keep that run home going. And I will say that after all these buys, like this last round, I was really excited. Like I was excited to see all my new guns play. I didn't watch the Titans game actually. I watched that on replay. I'm glad I didn't watch that live because I reckon I would have. 30th floor window is seeing Bo and Tino and Jade. Seriously, we didn't.
Jaden started the game.
But you can buy Jaden Campbell for $550K right now. So he could technically be in our pods, or he's not a pod, but he'd be in our buys. But he's almost going to end up in cash cows the way he's going. So
man, it hurts. It hurts.
It hurts. Yeah. I assume that's why we didn't put him in. It hurts us too much to.
He's still a buy. He's still a buy.
Yeah, I would still buy him.
Buy for so long,
I
think he's really funny. This guy was like, "Oh, they have him in the buys every week, and they're ignoring that he's injured and blah blah." blah. And I was like, "Yeah, but the upside."
I saw that. Look, I would have thought that was a stupid argument from that bloke, but I think he's winning right now. So
he's going all right.
Come on.
I mean, look, 50,
Jaden,
50,
come on,
Campbell.
Put it up.
He scored a 27 with a try. Nwani Tawase scored a 27. Like, who else do you have that's better than Jaden Campbell with his 48?
Yeah,
no one is the answer. Except Dylan Edwards.
Yeah,
bloody Dylan Edwards.
Yeah, I know, right?
Anyway,
all right,
man.
Jaden Campbell. I said it'd get 70 plus last week. I'm even more serious. He's getting 70 plus this week. Come on, man, get us back into it. Anyway,
who's he against? He's against the Warriors.
Yeah, that's not a great matchup, but
Gagai scored a try against the Warriors. Maybe Campbell can.
Yeah, Campbell can do it all. All right, he'll be there.
We hope so.
We'll get us.
Right, cheers for jumping on though, Biz. Good luck, everyone. Make those trades. Save a few trades. Do not burn all your trades. Don't go below 3 trades this week. That is the one request I have. Please don't do it.